Good evening. Today's date is January 10th, 2025. Time is 7:10 p.m. Haven't been on for a couple of days. I've been sending a couple of videos out, but they weren't live particularly. And I'm doing so today because Jessica Denson came out with her newest video today. So when you get a chance, again, just go to YouTube, type in Jessica Denson, and you should be able to see her newest video. Now, I'm just going to give you a synopsis as to my opinion and, of course, an overture of what I saw and, what I understood. Now, as you know, I was there during the 14th now March, at least for 2 days anyway, at least 1.5 days. I got there late on the first day. Stayed there for the entire second day, and then the third day I was busy, so I wasn't able to attend. However, Jessica and crew, pulled off the near impossible and was able to get that done within 2 weeks and get representation out there as far as the speakers and what have you. Now, she had mentioned also, too, and one thing I didn't realize, there weren't a lot of media outlets covering that. They like to cover all this MAGA stuff, but they don't seem to want to cover anything that pushes back up against the election or the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Now, some of the interesting things that she had mentioned, and I wanted to hear this particular video. I was waiting for it to come out. I know we did something earlier with a gentleman named Nathan Dyer. I had a video just previous, maybe about 2 or 3 days ago, where he talks about inconsistencies in the votes and the tabulations and different things like that, Russian tales and what have you. But didn't mention a whole lot about what her opinion was as far as Congress during the certification of the vote. So this is one that I was actually looking forward to listening to. So she goes on to say, and I expected a little bit of something from that, only because she had actually went there, and so did a number of other people, and talked to representatives in person. I know she had sent some information to Jamie Raskin's office, and she had talked to some people in person. The fact that they said they knew her, I thought that this might have some legs. At least some people might stand up and say something. Now, as far as Jamie Raskin's office is concerned, she did mention in a previous video that she had sent a letter out there or left a phone call or however she contacted them, that they came back with the statement, we're making sure this is a, smooth transition of power or what have you. So I kind of knew where he was going with that. My surprise, and her surprise as well, is why didn't anybody, and I wanted to hear from her because maybe I missed something, but why didn't anybody speak out and bring up that objection? Either they were told by the majority or the minority leader, hey, look, go ahead and keep tight-lipped on this. But all of them, sang to the same song. They all had the same marching orders. Nobody bucked. Nobody came up and made any objections. That's kind of unusual. I'm trying not to read into that, other than the fact that, what can I say? I mean, these people didn't say anything. Now, as I said before, there's a political price to be paid. If these guys are looking towards 2026 and 2028 in regards to the next elections, they may find out they may not have as many supporters as they think they're going to have, because their unwillingness to stand up for Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which is written in the Constitution. It's something they have to make up. It's something they have to draw up. It's something they have to legislate. It's already in there. And we know the Constitution as being the law of the land. So, I mean, come on now. I'm not the sharpest pencil in the box, but I at least get that. Okay. So she goes on to talking about that, and she did have her guest on again, and his name was John Bonifaz. He was the guy I had mentioned in an earlier video, and he is the constitutional scholar. And she pitched a couple of things to him. One of the things that she mentioned to him was that she had heard something circulating around about something done between now and maybe the inauguration. Now, she wasn't specific on what it was, but she kind of ran it past John to see what he would say. Now, since he didn't have most of the information he needed to make a accurate reply to that, he just went along with, this is the way things go with how the progress goes in regards to the 14th Amendment and the steps that you have to go through. But he didn't mention what she was alluding to, and that was what we know it to be, Executive Order 13848, which deals with international election interference. Now, I don't know whether that has legs or not. I know a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are saying, hey, calm down, relax. Things are going to go. Don't worry about it. I can't say that, but I can't not say that either. So let's see how all that goes and see if there's some type of, because this guy, Teflon Don, he has been immune to most things. Speaking about immunity, he was, finally, they got him on a little bit of something, but it didn't make that much of a difference. It did solidify his position as a convicted felon, but there was no penalty. Obviously, I'm talking about the sentencing today with Michon. Now, Michon went on to say that, look, that privilege is extended to the office of the presidency, not the occupant of the presidency. So he made that distinction. Basically, what he was saying, if you want to, read between the tea leaves, is look, if it weren't for that, you'd be going to jail, my friend. And I hope everybody out, these MAGA people, realize that. If it weren't for the fact that he had supposedly won the election, then he'd be on his way to jail. Okay, so he's a convicted felon. Is it something you hang your hat on? Maybe a little bit of something, but doesn't change the situation that we're dealing with, and that is the fact that he may be inaugurated on the 20th, and if he does, then all bets are off. Okay, so that's my opinion on that. Now, Now, one other thing that I noticed today, and I'm going to go back to Jessica in a second, was I was on a live with a group, and I guess I can put their information, if I can find it again, in the comments. And this appeared to be a majority Muslim group. Now, as you know, as I told you before, I'm Roman Catholic, and my wife is Muslim. We agree, we agree on most things. It's a personal preference type deal. A man convinced or a woman convinced against their will is of the same opinion still, but we manage to still, see eye to eye on a lot of different things. Now, this group brought up a subject which I thought was pretty interesting, and they were talking about, and I'm not going to get too much into it, just give you a sort of an overture as to what they were talking about, Article 6, dealing with the United Nations, as far as expelling the United States from the United Nations. Of course, they go back not to the Gaza war particularly, although that is part of it, but they go back to an 80-year history of shenanigans, which they feel have been going on between Israel, the United States, and the Muslim world. As I said, I haven't gone back into that to look at that history. I pretty much talk about the Gaza war, and the fact is that I made a couple of comments on there that I told them that I was American, and I also let them know that I didn't feel that if you're going to take the stance of finding a peaceful resolution, protecting the innocents, protecting the civilians, well then it's sort of counterproductive if you're saying that on one side and then you're handing over money and weapons on the other side. It's sort of a mixed message. So that's been my deal on that. Now, as far as the horrific attack on Israel, yeah, they had the right. Israel had the right to respond, but it's my opinion that they over responded. But look at the situation. Like when you're in war, there goes the ship, torpedo it. There goes the army. There goes your front line. Go get them. Throw them bombs over there. Hit them with the tanks. But with Hamas, it's different. I don't think anybody has support for Hamas itself, but everyone has a bleeding heart for the innocent civilians that were killed. But the thing about Hamas is that they integrate with these civilians. They use them as shields. But it was still, even though the passions were high, and the Israelis took a big hit on that, a tremendous hit on that, trying to eradicate, and they used other words beginning with a G, but trying to eradicate all them people. I think 46,000 people, probably more than that, and about 100,000 injured. Come on, man. You don't do that stuff. If you're trying to, put together a peace plan, again, you don't, well, I'm talking about Israel, I'm talking about the United States, after the fact, after about 20,000 people have been blown up, then you don't go ahead and keep on sending them weapons. The way that you can send them a signal, look, we're not going to have any of this killing civilian stuff. I'm not going to send you money, I'm not going to send you weapons, and if you keep it up, you're not going to get our support either. But the United States has been embedded with Israel for many, many years. They have some type of awkward, some type of mutual relationship, which I've still yet to figure out. Now, I'm not anti-Israeli, and I'm not anti-Palestinian either. But I can, I'm going to call a spade a spade. Okay. So they were talking about that. So you can look forward to something maybe coming out in the background about that, about trying to get the United States out of the United Nations. Will it be successful? I don't know. It's pretty much of a long shot. Who knows? Trump may take us out of there anyway. He wants to take us out of NATO. He may want to take us out of there as well. And then we go back to being isolationists. Just standing back and watching. And I put up a video about a day or so ago in regards to that. Where does that put us with NATO? If we're not an ally, if we're not in the NATO group, and we're not an ally, well, then we're an adversary. And, of course, remember, Article 5, if one NATO country is attacked, all of them attack in unison. Do we want to be on the other side? Especially with people who feel that a certain person is in cahoots with Putin and China. If that is true, then we're playing on the wrong side of the field. And will our military respond to that? Will they take orders like that? Will they go against their best interest? I feel that a lot of people went against their best interest voting for the man. But this is America. You vote who you want to vote for. But when push comes to shove, do we have the stomach to go up against our allies that we've been allies with for decades, that we won world wars with? Do we go up against them? All this is to come. This man gets in, it's going to be a slippery slope. Anyway. Okay. Now, the individual for this podcast I just mentioned, I do respect. I do follow him. I don't know if he follows me or not, but I know I do follow him. And he's very introspective. He's very well spoken, and he's got a lot of good points, just as far as human rights are concerned. Okay. Now, going back to Jessica, it is her intention to keep up the fight between now and at least inauguration, and maybe even past then. I don't know what type of fight will be effective. As far as the 14 Now March, I thought it was a good move, but really, to tell you the truth, and I said it while I was at the march, these guys in Congress, something's controlling them. Something's controlling them, keeping them tight-lipped, keeping them from going in the same direction. Now, as I said before with the Republicans, regardless of how silly their message is, these guys are in lockstep with each other. You would expect different from the Democrats. Now, as far as the Republicans bringing up Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, no. These guys don't even... Look, they only consider the Constitution when it's convenient for them. Outside of that, they don't want the Constitution because that just messes up their plans. And then, of course, the Democrats, they're hiding behind the Constitution. Oh, look at the Vice President's speech. Oh, I had to do it because of the Constitution, the love of the people, the love of the... Come on, man. If you're doing it for the Constitution, if you're following the laws of the Constitution, then you all would have brought up Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which is embedded in the Constitution already. It's no guesswork. So if you're an advocate for the Constitution, it would stand to reason that you would bring up articles that are in the Constitution. So that's my take on it, and that's Jessica's take as well. Going back to what I said earlier, she was extremely disappointed with the, you could hear a pin drop. And after she talked to some of these people and gave them a heads up, and they knew who she was, and they knew what she stood for, and they still kept tight-lipped about it. Now, as I said, I'm not hanging on to anything happening between now and the inauguration. I really hate to say that. I'm not hanging on to it, but I'm not saying it's not either. I'm not trying to play both sides either. There might be something there. But all the signals tell me that this man may get in there. So, what do we do from there? Do we just lay down and take it? No. Again, the people have the power. The people have the power to replace their representatives. That includes the Democrats. She also talked about possibly instituting a separate party. I mean, MAGA took over the Republican Party. That's not a good example, but they did. So if these guys aren't going to fight for the people, if the Democrats are just going to talk and turn tail, what good are they? They're looking towards the 2026 and the 2028 election. There may not be no elections at that time. Remember what Donald Trump said? I've got all the votes I want. He's got a system set up that's going to get him all the votes he wants, whether it's 26, 28, or 2024. It was the responsibility of Congress to find that out. Or the government, I don't know who's responsible for finding out, but it was their responsibility to find that out. They may be doing that. But if they didn't, and they let this man slip in, I'm telling you, there's going to be a huge political price to be paid for this. How are you going to vote for anybody on the Democratic side, again, knowing that they just laid down and took it? I'm an independent voter. I lean Democratic. Of course, I'm not going to the other side either. But then what choice does that leave me? The Republicans are not a choice. So it's either one of two things, either to abstain or to vote. But no one has given me a reason to vote for them on the Democratic side. Not one reason. Not Biden, not Harris. Not all those guys in the House and the Senate. With all their spectacular speeches. From Jasmine Crockett to Hakeem Jeffries. All those elaborate speeches. Just talk. Jamie Raskins as well. Adam Schiff. Just all talk. In my opinion. So let's see what happens between now and the inauguration, if something comes up. But I got to say, this man's inaugurated. He's going to cause some serious damage in this country. I don't know where we're going from there. I'm not trying to be negative, just trying to be real. Okay, that's my spiel for today. Appreciate you guys coming in. If I have something articulate or something cohesive to say at some point down the line, I'll definitely come on back. But definitely repost. Sorry, a little bit lengthy. Repost. And I'll catch you again next time. Thank you.